Hi, grade twos! Now let's remember how we've talked about making the characters in our stories talk, move, and feel. And that's what really brings our stories to life. So today we're going to talk about adding the talking to our stories. And I do want to warn you before we talk more about that sometimes in grade 2, writers tend to add way too much talking when they're trying to add talking, and it ends up being way more than the describing parts of the story. So it's still important in your story to have more describing parts than talking parts, but the talking definitely adds some life to your story. So remember that when you make a character talk, you can put the words they say inside quotation marks, and that shows that it's a talking part. And the reader might get confused about who said that part. So make sure most of the time to tell who said the dialogue. Now let's take a look at some examples of talking in the dialogue parts of a book.
So I'm reading from A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon with permission from Scholastic. Now let's take a look at this page of A Bad Case of Stripes and take a look at some different dialogue parts. So here we have her mother ran into the room and she screamed too. "Oh my heavens!" she cried. "You're completely covered with stripes." So you can see those two sentences where the mother was talking had quotation marks around them. And again, they made clear who was talking. It was Camilla's mother. Then her mother also says, "Do you feel all right?" she asked. "I feel fine," Camilla answered. "But just look at me." "You get back to bed in this instant," her mother ordered. "You're not going to school today." So one thing I'd like you to notice is that there's dialogue, but in between it, there's also some describing. And another thing is the author, David Shannon, didn't use the word said every single time he had someone speak. So he has "she cried" as a dialogue tag, or "she asked," or he says "Camilla answered" instead of just saying "Camilla said." And then when her mom is giving her sort of a command, he writes "her mother ordered." So instead of using said every single time, you might find one or two times to use a word different than said to make your word choices more interesting. In this next page, we have the doctor talking to Camilla, and he says, "Most extraordinary," he exclaimed. "I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, or uncontrollable twitching?" "No," Camilla told him. So we went from the doctor talking to Camilla, and David Shannon let us know by saying, "No," Camilla told him. So he's got that tag with her name. And then later he says, "Well then," Dr. Bumble said, turning to Mrs. Cream, "I don't see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment that should help clear up those stripes in a few days. If it doesn't, you know where to reach me." And off he went. So again, here's a page with dialogue where David Shannon clearly let us know who was talking, and also what the characters are saying is adding to the story. It's making things move forward and helping things to happen in the story. All right, on this last page of the book we're going to look at today, I want you to notice how there is quite a lot of dialogue because there's lots of different doctors and they're giving their thoughts on what's happening to Camilla. But also there's a lot of describing. So there's a paragraph with dialogue, and then 1-2 paragraphs of describing how they're examining her and poking and prodding her, and then another paragraph or two of talking, and then a paragraph of describing. So make sure in your story that you're being like David Shannon. You use the dialogue to bring the characters to life, but you also explain what's going on. So it's not just he said, she said, he said, she said, which can make for sort of a boring, confusing story. Let's take a look at my writing from today. I'm still working on my same series with Gretchen, so I'm keeping that character, but there's a new problem in this book. In this book, Gretchen really wants a dog, and she's trying her hardest to get a dog in her house. So let's read what I've got so far. "Mom, can't I please have a dog?" said Gretchen. "No, you can't," said Mom. "But I really want one," said Gretchen. "We absolutely cannot fit a dog in our house," said Mom. "Ugh," said Gretchen. So when I look at my dialogue, I see some things that I'm doing well. I'm remembering to use my quotation marks. I'm remembering to say who said what so that it doesn't get confusing. But I think I could add some more to this section of my story so that it's more interesting and clearer to the readers. The first thing I could do is add more describing parts. So far in this part of the story, there's only talking, and I think I could do a bit more. So I might, instead of just writing, Mom, can't I please have a dog, said Gretchen. I might say, said Gretchen, or maybe we'll change it to pleaded. Pleaded Gretchen, that sort of means begged. She's begging her mom. Pleaded Gretchen, clasping her hands together and making her sweetest face. Maybe we'll say with puppy dog eyes. No, you can't, said Mom. And I might add some more information. So I'm going to put a comma. No, you can't, said Mom. Not even looking down at Gretchen while she washed the dishes. So I'm telling what the mom said, but I'm also showing that the mom is not even giving very much attention to this because she is very certain she does not want to get Gretchen a dog. So she's not even looking down at Gretchen. She's just carrying on washing the dishes. So now we have Gretchen saying, but I really want one, said Gretchen. And I think that's okay. I don't need to have describing for every single part. And then I'm going to put Gretchen's mom stopped washing the dishes. She put her hands on her hips and looked Gretchen right in the eye. We absolutely cannot fit a dog in our house, said Mom. Ugh, said Gretchen. And then I have Gretchen saying so I've got the talking part, but I want to show my readers how upset Gretchen is. So I'm going to give some more detail. I'm going to tell how she's moving. So I'm going to say, Gretchen stormed out of the kitchen, trying to stomp as loudly as possible. She slammed the door to her room and didn't come out until dinner. Now I'll leave it there. I would write more to finish my story, and I would probably add a beginning to give some context for what was going on. But this is what I'm aiming for. I want to have some talking, but also some describing.
So this week I'm hoping that you're continuing on writing your series book with the same character but some different plot details today. And so you'll be working on that. And as you're writing, try to think of some parts where you can add some speaking. So some parts in quotation marks. Again, not way too much so that the story is just talking, but enough that the characters feel alive and we can hear what they're thinking and feeling. Have fun writing, 2B. Bye!